Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. You are watching our freestyle series of tactical videos. This particular series is meant to be watched as a playlist, showing you some of the most unique encounters I've had, highly unusual battle scenarios, and often cases where we need to change tactics on the fly. Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment, your YouTube channel helping you get better at Bannerlord through the use of advanced tactics. Today, of course, we have, surprise, surprise, another battle for you. A fairly evenly matched battle against the Northern Empire here. We are playing in this sort of congested, convoluted forest area, and in situations like this, I like to bring my forces sort of to one of the sides of the map, basically to gather my senses and see what the fuck we're dealing with here. I'm trying to figure out if the enemy is going to be offensive, if they're going to be defensive, and of course to see where they are, what kind of army composition they have, etc. Of course, in a battle like this against an opponent where we're even numbers, as you can see from the little power level bar above on the top of the screen, we are favored to win, right? We have a very powerful army with high-level veteran companions and high-level troops. And so this is a battle we're going to win like 99 out of 100 times, but and you know, maybe 100 out of 100 times realistically. I can't remember the last time I lost a battle where we were favored. But we're still going to be able to try to show you tactics today. So the enemy is taking an unusual approach here. They seem like they're retreating up onto this high plateau here. I know this map a little bit, and I know there's sort of a plateau up here with a bunch of rocks sort of to the back of the plateau, and that's exactly what they're doing. They have this large archer division spread out on the right. They've got a couple small cav corps, but it looks like they're going to try to take that hill and hold that hill in a defensive manner. So the very first thing I want to do here is start spreading my troops out. Right? In this situation, if the enemy is going to be static and choosing to be static, then you have a huge advantage in that you get to act basically. It's like someone in chess saying, well, I don't want to move. I just want to leave all my pieces where they are. Go ahead and move your pieces around. And we'll see how the game goes. Well, and you can imagine how it goes. In that kind of a chess game, you're going to win. So what we're going to do here is effectively form two different flanks. I've got the center flank, which we came in on. That's my 1st Infantry, 4th Archers. And we're extending around this wide right flank here with Archers, Skirmishers, the 6th Corps, and the 5th Archers. Right? We're basically going to have two different strong fronts to attack the enemy with. They've got a bunch of archers here. For some reason or other, these guys are in shield wall. Not quite certain what the opponent thinks they're doing with that attack, with that approach, but there you have it. There's a handful of horse archers which we're sort of chasing off. And indeed, it does look like the enemy is going to anchor up in this defensive area. And this represents quite a challenge, actually. It's a good strategy if they act appropriately. Now, the AI doesn't always act appropriately. What I mean by act appropriately is they should have archers spread out ready just to absolutely hammer us as we come up to that ridge, right? If you've seen any of my other episodes where I talk about the tactic I've called the Peekaboo Ridge, this is a classic example of that, right? We come over this little ridge. Nobody has line of sight right now. By line of sight, I mean none of the archers can really shoot each other, right? They're shooting at these guys at the edges here, these handful of dipshit horse archers. But neither of the archers at this stage have a line of sight because of this ridge. The enemy's over this ridge, and so when we approach over that ridge, all of their archers and projectile units can just unleash hell on us, making it actually a very defendable position for the enemy. Now, unfortunately for them, to me, it seems like their archers are a little bit closed, a little bit closer than they should be. They do have a rock wall behind them there, and that will definitely help them defend. But here's what we're going to do. We can't pop our head up over that ridge, right, without getting shot to pieces. But what we can do is we can make them come out by pounding them with our own arrows. Now, how are we going to do that, right? We're going to bring archers around to this flank. It's our left flank, the enemy right. And I'm going to screen the archers as they come in. And what do I mean by screen? Anybody who's watched the channel knows that I mean using these cav basically to protect them. So I've got this cav division following me, and I just spread two different archer corps, my 4th and 5th out, basically in perfect line of sight of the enemy. Now the enemy can't shoot them because there's all these cavalry in the way, right? I have all these heavy horse. The guys have shields. The guys have, horses that are armored. They can't really shoot our archers. But as soon as I pull our horses out of the way, now the archers are just absolutely unloading. They're just pounding the enemy, and the enemy is not spread. We're spread, and the enemy is kind of congested in there. This is a very bad situation now for the enemy. They're effectively fish in a barrel, and they're acting exactly how we expect them to. They're panicking, they're charging. Well, you remember these troops that I set down here. Now we're going to kite. What does kiting mean? Kiting means retreating, not out of fear, not out of retreat, you know, like you're losing, but it's an intentional retreat where you pull where you pull your troops back rather, allow the enemy to pursue, and then on both of the flanks of the enemy, you prepare your assault. Right? We're retreating, basically pulling the enemy back into a trap. This huge amount of infantry here, and this is a huge amount of infantry. We now want them to come down this hill and attack us. Right? It's probably 300 guys. They're getting pounded with arrows. What we're going to do is we're effectively going to lure them down here, and then as soon as they're at their most, shall we call it, deepest moment within the trap, the jaws of the trap will slam shut. So what I'm doing here is I'm stretching out my 8th Corps on the right. On the left, I'm going to have the 6th and 1st. Actually, the 1st is holding the center. We'll have the 6th on the left. You see our archers are absolutely pounding them as they come down, right? Because now they're the ones coming down out of the ridge. So they don't have line of sight. They're getting withering arrow fire from all our archers. These guys have just been waiting to attack. I'm backing up the 1st Infantry even further, again, because the enemy is getting shot from the side, from both sides. Now it's time to close the vise, spring this trap. So the cav comes charging in, right? We're going to disrupt the enemy. The 8th Corps and 6th Corps on that right wing is sent to attack, and the 1st Corps is now finally sent in to attack just to completely devastate this enemy force, right? And you see the screen, it's all green. The enemy is getting absolutely vaporized by this trap, right? They went from a very defensible position to completely fucked and all dead. Just like that guy, he can lay against a tree for the rest of this battle. Basically, the entire enemy vanguard just got vaporized. So reinforcements are already pouring in, so we're going to reposition to account for that. In long battles like this, where you're facing 3 or 4 enemy waves, you want to account for additional reinforcements, right? They have archers that are sort of retreating that way. It looks like they've got another 150 infantry. So we're going to spread out our units here, make a nice big C shape around the enemy. Some people call this like a swan formation, or I like to look at it like a V. The V, what you're doing with the V is you're effectively positioning troops on the sides of the enemy approach, and a center of strong troops to hold the middle, and then you want the enemy basically to attack you in that area, right? Because you have troops on both sides, right? Flanking attacks, guys are shooting. I've got archers unloading on it. That's why there's still death spam just pouring on the screen up there. We want the enemy basically to approach us in the middle. Now, of course, a good human AI would not allow you to do this, right? They'd be repositioned. They'd simply back up and reposition again. But alas, we're not playing AI yet, or we're not playing human intelligence. This is just AI. So the enemy seems to be hesitant to attack here. I mean, can you blame them at this stage? It's just been a meat grinder. Take a peek. They've got very weak archers that are sort of skirmishing with us. And of course, in battles like this, that's one of the keys. Once you annihilate their vanguard, right, their toughest 500-600 troops, and yours don't take much damage, well, you're now still fighting with your best troops against the enemy's middle tier troops. So it's already a mismatch, right? I've got some of my units charging forward. We're sent our cavalry on both flanks here just to effectively attack the archers in the back while we deal with this infantry. But the point is that at this stage of the battle, you could F1, F3 this battle. You could just send everybody in charge. Tactics aren't that critical at this stage because, look, we're fighting tier 3, tier 4. These are tier 3 archers. They're just cut to pieces by our elite troops, right? We can fly in with our axe here, and we can just decimate the enemy. There's a huge steamroller line there of the 1st Infantry, right? It's like 100+ guys. And why is it so big? Well, because we didn't suffer any or very few losses on our attack, right? We didn't approach the enemy up in their little defensive position. We didn't play by their rules. And look at this thing just steamrolling the path through. And there's some enemy kills here and there, right? You're not going to... There is no such thing as a perfect battle. I mean, maybe someone out there has fought a perfect battle. I certainly haven't. But we're just trying to win battles in a dramatic, overwhelming fashion so that we can get on to the next battle. In my campaign, where I'm fighting virtually everybody all the time, I don't have the troops to lose 300 or 400 in every battle, right? If you auto-resolve this, you lose 300 or 400 troops, 200 or 300 are injured, maybe 100 die. We want like 50 deaths at most, preferably like 20. So you see at this stage even more reinforcements are popping in, but of course anybody who's played this large a battle knows that this little last tranche of 100 guys, it looks like it's 110 archers and 50 infantry. Those guys are all of the lowest level. I see recruits, right? So these are their guys that are wearing fucking t-shirts. You know, they should never have left the blacksmiths, the cook area. They're just getting cut to pieces here. This battle's a massacre at this stage. It's just mopping up the final stages here. So hopefully you enjoyed this, learned the new approach to deal with entrenched defensive enemies. It is a very strong defensive position if you just approach it in a normal way. This is a situation where F1 and F3, just having all your units charged, might have resulted in a disaster. Instead, as you see, it's a dramatic victory in our favor. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned to our channel for more tactical videos showing advanced field tactics to help you win. And I'll see you fellas next time.